Alright then, let's go over the best way to farm Gley. I did a lot of experimenting, as you guys can see. I got all of the parts, well, most of the parts multiple times. So let's get into this real fast. Before starting, highly recommend having Sharon available. This is going to speed up farming at least 2 of the parts, if not more. So just make sure that you have farmed her out. She drops from actual missions anyway, so she's actually one of the easier descendants to get farmed up. I already have a video up on the channel if you guys need a hand with that. Starting with the enhanced cells then, I recommend moving over to your special operations terminal and running the Sterile Land Kuiper mining mission. This mission is actually not too bad. Unlike the endless defense mission, this one isn't too bad to run. As you can see, this is going to be the second drop, so you'll need to clear 4 rounds of enemies and leave for the fastest way of getting it. Stay longer if you can. This mission wasn't too difficult, so have some fun with that. The next easiest part then is going to be from the Magister Lab in Kingston. Should be pretty simple. Come on over to the infiltrations terminal, whack on normal, and you'll see Magister Lab, and she's a 38% drop from this 002 amorphous pattern. I shouldn't really need to go over this too much. You guys should be able to do that bit pretty easy. For the 2 more difficult to get parts then, and this is why we want to be having Sharon, we want to go to the 2 outposts that we need to farm to get these parts are in Agda Desert and Vespers. So we'll start out in Agda Desert. You're going to want to come to the Mirage Stone Zone. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can just see a little bit. Zoom back in. I recommend putting this into private because people are going to wreck this for you. Have uploaded a video letting people know you should be doing these in stealth mode. And what you can see is we're going to get pattern 28 right here. But to get the second roll on it, we want to do this in a stealth mode. So that way, if we can get all 3 of the terminals whilst we are invisible, we will be able to get twice the amount of the amorphous, basically. So it upgrades us from that 20% chance to 2 20% chances. Kind of equates to 40%, but sometimes you will actually get 2 drops at a time, which is rather nice. When you spawn in, bring the map straight up to make sure that there's no timer. Usually when you switch to private, it'll give you like a couple of untimed ones straight away, and then after that we seem to share the servers at least a little bit. So sometimes you'll come back in and there's a timer, sometimes you'll come back in and there isn't. We're going to kind of just do a couple of rounds of this right now to show you how it's going to work. So we're just going to make our way over there as quickly as we can. On the lead up to this one in the desert, sometimes they can spot you, and we want to try and avoid that. So come over to the left hand side. Sometimes there's a guy stood right here. There's not much we can do about it, but you want to get behind this little post here, get invisibility on, and then you want to double roll as much as you can because that's going to allow you to move faster. We're going to double roll here, look, so 1 roll, 2 roll, this one, and then 2 rolls over this way for this one. If your Sharon's well equipped, you'll find that you can also just slash the guy, then that's that one over. And now we can immediately go to the next area, which is Vespers Lumberyard. So we want to head on down to the south, where, as you can see, quite close proximity here. This one's usually pretty good. Again, got pretty lucky here, so no timer on this one either. So I can just head on over. As you can see, much better cover on the way into this one, so we shouldn't really get seen. Whack on the cloak, get on in. Turn to the right for the second one. And then it's a 180 degree. We're going to get all the way across the other side for this. But as you can see, 2 rolls is enough. All 3. Chop the boss out. And that is how you're going to farm those. Right now we can ping back. It's highly likely that when I look at the Agna Desert, it might bring us in for a timed one. Just so I can show you guys what the thought process behind that is. So it just arrived. You can see this one's actually only a 2-minute one. So you can see how quick that was, mostly. So we've been less than a minute, but that has shaved 3 minutes off the timer for me. I don't quite know how they calculate this, but usually if it's less than 2 minutes, I'll go over and then plan my next Descendant farm so that, you know, I'm kind of just keeping this out. And the reason that you want to be planning your next Descendant farm is because if you start running these amorphous, and let's say you get one of the, this happened to me, I think it was the cells I got first, and then you still need the catalyst or whichever other part that is you're missing. You kind of want to have an alternate thing that you want to be farming as you're pinging between the zones. I like to farm these until I have about 15 of the amorphous each. It's not exactly guaranteed. I think the odds of 6% works out something like 16, 17-ish amorphous. So if you go for 20, it's actually not going to be too bad. From there then, let's talk about cracking those open. The amorphous 28, as you might imagine, actually opens in the reactor that is in the same place, but I found that the best place to farm the amorphous we need is in this void fragment we see just to the north here. This drops the ones that we want in the correct quantities, and if you have access to normal mode and a decent bunny to go up there and farm those, this actually does pretty well. Let's go and have a quick run of that. Should be pretty obvious. Just get this activated, run this mission through a couple of times. I think I did 15 runs for mine, so I could open all 15 of the amorphous that this one will open for us. If you want a bit of a tip for making this a little bit easier, I've gathered these up just because of how recording works for me. But if you can just basically get your energy up so you can go and then start running around in a little loop, you'll find that if you can effectively encircle these little rings that they all seem to spawn for, you'll be pretty fine. There are some like self-annihilating ones, but if you just stay around the edge like so, you'll find that you can pretty much deal with most of the enemies fairly quickly as you're going through. The only ones that are going to give you any form of pause are the ones with the shields. And with that run, it'll be as simple as going back onto your normal mode and then taking the shards that we farmed to this Agna Desert Fusion that we have down here. I'll give it one run. I don't really need anything from it right now, but just kind of demonstrate everything. And whilst I'm on my way to this first one, I just want to say don't feel too put out if you don't get the exact reward you want. Of course, this video is about Gley, but this one in particular has a fairly strong looking mod for Lepic. So as you're running a lot of this stuff, you are getting rolls for other cool stuff that you may not even realize that you're getting, right? All of these missions that we're doing, they all have interesting mod drops and all sorts of other things. So you come over here, you put your stuff in. We have Boss Boy spawn in. I like to use Ajax for this, so we'll go ahead and we'll get him sorted out. I didn't even check if we had any Morphos 28 drop. This is where you'll open your Morphos 28 if you have one. Obviously I didn't, and you'll get a chance at the rather cool power unit charge Lepic mod. Moving on to opening a Morphos 13 then that we got from the Lumberyard. If you have an Ice Descendant, you want to go for the Void Fragment. Haven't tested any of the others. This is where I farmed mine. So again, you're going to want to switch to hard mode if you can. Come on over into the ruins, which is just to the north of it. Go ahead and run the Ice Void Fragment mission. Obviously, it's a good idea to put this back into public. That way, you know, if there happens to be someone else here farming it, you can get an advantage. There's absolutely no reason not to do that. And then once you've done that a few times, we can, of course, switch back to normal mode, where, again, we can run the boss that is basically in the same zone. So just to the north, we'll head on over, do that. Just remember that you're running the Void Fragment in hard and then switching to normal to defeat the boss. And again, just as an aside, as we're going over to this particular boss, if you can do this part as a group, this is going to be way, way faster. I did all of this solo, so it obviously took me way longer. But because each person can technically open this once, if you have 4 people with the ability to open the vault, you can, of course, divide the amount of time you have to spend farming the Void Fragments by 4 if you wish to. And then that'll allow you to open the other Amorphous that you're able to farm. Again, I didn't check that we had any. I've already farmed Gley up enough. I really didn't feel like I needed to do that. That leaves us with one last thing that people will probably be looking for when it comes to farming Gley. So over in the menus here, there is going to be this cooling metallic oil that you can see, and I'm going to show you guys how we can get that nice and quickly right now as well. This is the fastest method I've seen. We're going to go to the White Knight Gulch. We're going to switch this to private, and we're going to ping between 2 zones and 2 specific fast travel points. The first one that you want to do is this Moongrave Basin right here. We're going to go ahead and fast travel there right now, and then we're going to look over to the left and we're going to scan. If we get a ping like we just did, we're going to go on over. Now you can see that I've switched to Enzo. That's because that makes this easier and faster. So Enzo increases the rewards and makes these easier to hack. You are also going to need to have the locks or the precision codes for this. I haven't done a video on how to farm these. I'm just using ones that I've gotten clearing through and grinding through the game naturally. I will try to get a video of that done though, because I think it's going to be important at this point. If you haven't done one of these before, all you need to do is press the corresponding button when it's within the little segment that we can see. And Enzo basically halves the amount of these that we have to do. So you can see that one would have been way harder. That was a higher level one. Quite a bit of Kuiper, and we're also going to get the cooling metallic foil. So the next point that we want to go to, obviously we were just at the Moongrave Basin. We want to head pretty much directly to the west. So we're going to be in this mountaintops area, but it's this southern one that we want to go to. So make sure that's the one that you go to. There are in fact 2 that spawn close to this. I'm going to leave this up to your taste whether you want to scan for both or if you want to go for just one of them. You can scan to this side, or you can scan over this way. All right, that's 2 separate ones. So I'm going to show you guys where the locations of both of those are, even if they haven't spawned. All right, so we're going to head on over this way. Doesn't like this one has. Over here, so you can see that we have one of the records spawn, and then just over to the left there'll be one that can spawn right here. I think the other one has though, because we seem to get a ping. So if we go back to where the start was, just so you guys can see where it is. So again, from where we spawned, and it has you looking out of here, we scanned that left way, there wasn't one over there. Scanned this way, and we have a ping. All right, cool. So we're going to head on up. All right, if we can get up there, that'll be grand. And then we just want to stick with our shoulder on this little rock here as we move to the left. And then as you come over to the cliff, if we look down, this is where the second one can spawn, as you can see. I don't have any codes left, so I need to start farming those now. Luckily, I already have enough. And then all you need to do then is ping between the 2 fast travel points. All right, and you can farm up all of the material you'll need so that you can build your own Gley Descendant.